Hello everyone, this is the fifth video for class 9 history. We are going to finish off the French Revolution chapter in this video. This will be a very short video. We are doing just the last part of the chapter. Now, can politics change the clothes people wear, the language they speak, or the books they read? The years following 1789 in France saw many such changes. The revolutionary governments took it upon themselves to pass the laws that would translate the ideals of liberty and equality into everyday practice. Now, one important law that came soon after the storming of Bastille prison is that the abolition of censorship. In the old regime, all written material and cultural activities like books, newspapers, plays, could be published or performed only after it has been approved by the king. Now the Declaration of Rights and Man, the citizen, the now the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, the Constitution, proclaimed freedom of speech and expression to be a natural right. Men are born with that right. Newspapers, pamphlets, books and printed pictures flooded the town of France from where they traveled rapidly into the countryside. So, France became a hotbed for newspapers, books, pamphlets, plays and everything which was written new, because there was no fear of censorship. There was no fear that, okay, if I write this thing, I might get killed. So, there was a sudden outflow of printed material in France. In the countryside, they all described and discussed the events and changes which were taking place in Paris and the rest of France. Freedom of press also meant that opposing views of events could also be expressed. Each side sought to convince the other of its position through medium of print. So opposing views are also coming up during this period. If one newspaper prints something from their viewpoint, another newspaper might print the same thing from their own viewpoint. So there was no fear of getting any punishment for expressing one's own view. Plays, songs, festive processions attracted large number of people. This was just one way they could grasp and identify with ideas such as liberty or justice that political philosophers wrote about at length in texts which only a handful of educated people could read. That is, political philosophers who wrote about liberty, justice, equality, freedom of speech and such ideas, they were written in print, only a handful of people could get it. But now that the censorship has been abolished, plays, songs, festive processions, in every event people took part. Then they truly realized the meaning of these ideals, what it was like to have freedom of speech, what it was like to have freedom of justice, what it was like to have liberty. They fully understand the meaning, they fully grasped the length and depth of these ideas. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself the King of France. He set out to conquer neighboring European countries, dispossessing dynasties and creating new kingdoms where he placed members of his own family. Napoleon saw his role as a modernizer of Europe. So Napoleon saw himself as a modernizer of Europe. He introduced many laws, he introduced many laws which were modern in nature, like the protection of private property, uniform system of weights and measures provided by the decimal system. Initially, many people saw Napoleon as a liberator who would bring freedom to the people. But soon the Napoleonic armies came to be viewed everywhere as an invading force. Not everyone liked the Napoleonic forces. He was finally defeated at Waterloo in 1815. Many of his measures that carried the revolutionary ideas of liberty and modern laws had an impact on people long after Napoleon had left. So even after he was defeated, even after Napoleon died, the ideas, the reforms which Napoleon had set in front of Europe, they continued to exist. The ideas of liberty and democratic rights were the most important legacy of the French Revolution. These spread from France to the rest of Europe during the 19th century. where feudal systems were abolished. Colonized people reworked the idea of freedom from bondage into their movements to create a sovereign nation state. So colonized people in different parts of the world, they also got the message that the French Revolution had carried of liberty, equality, a sense of justice. So they molded the idea of freedom for themselves, and they sought freedom from their oppressors through their own way, being inspired by the ideals of the French Revolution. So that's it. That was the end of the chapter, the French Revolution. In the next video, we will start a new chapter probably. Don't worry about the question answers. When the school reopens, I will do the question answers with you. So you don't have to worry about that. In these video tutorials, I'm just finishing off, trying to finish off the chapters first. Okay? Bye.